You ever notice that? The second things get quiet, your mind just starts to, well, race, and this weird sense of unease creeps in. Today, we're going to get into something that sounds a little crazy, the paradox of boredom. We're going to explore how that empty feeling might actually be the very thing you need to feel whole again. So, yeah, let's get comfortable with being uncomfortable and just dive right in.
Wow, this quote it absolutely nails it, doesn't it? That raw, almost primal feeling you get when there are zero distractions. It's like your brain is desperately scrabbling for something, anything to latch onto. And when it comes up empty, pure panic. I think we all know that feeling, especially in this hyper-connected world of ours.
And that experience, that feeling, it leads us right to the heart of the matter for this whole explainer. Why does a quiet mind, the very thing we think we want, feel so threatening? What is actually going on inside our heads when everything just stops? Okay, so to answer that, we've got to start by unpacking this modern fear of just being still. And we're going to see that this isn't just about being bored or having nothing to do. No, it's way deeper. It's about a really unsettling internal experience that kicks in the moment the noise finally stops.
So where on earth does that panic actually come from? Well, to figure that out, we've got to go inside the brain and meet the main culprit. Let's meet your very own inner narrator, what the source material calls the self-scrabbling mind.
The star player here is a brain system called the default mode network, or DMN for short. You can just think of it as your brain's personal storyteller. It's the part of you that's always, and I mean always, weaving together your memories, your plans for the future, and whatever you're feeling right now into one continuous story, the story of you. And listen, this constant storytelling isn't just some background noise. That narrative becomes what we think of as ourself, our ego. It's the I that we're so convinced is experiencing the world. It's the main character in the movie of our life, a movie that's being written and directed, moment by moment, by the DMN. And this whole setup can trigger a kind of panic chain reaction. So here's how it works. Step 1, you take away the distractions. You put down your phone, your to-do list is done. Step 2, the DMN keeps doing its job, spinning stories, but now it's desperately searching for meaning in the quiet. Step 3, it finds nothing. And step 4, that self, that I we identify with so strongly, feels like it's literally about to collapse. It becomes an existential threat. And that right there is the crucial point. This isn't some logical fear you can just reason your way out of. No way. It's a gut-level, deep-seated feeling that the very foundation of who you think you are is crumbling, all because there's nothing for it to do, nothing for it to define itself against. So if that's the problem, what in the world is the solution? Well, this brings us to a really powerful tool for changing your whole perspective. We're going to talk about how you can actually become the observer of your own mind. Now, this is so key. The goal is not to somehow achieve this impossible state of no thoughts. Honestly, that's just a recipe for frustration. The real solution is way simpler. It's to just recognize that there is a narrator in your head, but you don't have to believe every single word it says. And this is where the idea of the observer comes into play. Think of it as a part of your awareness that just watches. It sees the thoughts, it sees the feelings, it sees that frantic search for meaning, but it doesn't get tangled up in any of it. It's like you're just sitting there watching clouds drift across the sky. And just look at the shift this creates. It seems so subtle, but it's absolutely profound. Instead of getting caught in saying, I am panicking, or this is my panic, you just observe, a feeling of panic is arising. That tiny little change in wording creates a massive change in your actual experience. So what does that little shift actually do? It creates distance. It carves out this crucial breathing room between your core awareness and all the chaos of your thoughts and feelings. You're no longer tangled up in the drama. You're the space in which the drama is happening. But, and this is a huge but, here's a crucial word of caution. The observer is a tool. It is not a new identity. If you start thinking, wow, I am such a great observer, I'm so spiritual, then you've just swapped one ego for another, fancier one. The real goal here, as the source material points out, is to eventually let go of identifying with anything and just rest in being. Which brings us right back to where we started. Now we can finally start to see boredom not as this terrible enemy, but as a totally unexpected ally. It's time to reframe that empty void as some seriously fertile ground for growth.
So why is it an ally? Well, because boredom is basically the perfect gym for your mind. It takes away all the easy exits, right? It strips away all the distractions and puts you face to face with that self-scrabbling narrator. It gives you a direct, unmissable chance to actually practice. So the next time you feel that boredom creeping in, you're at a crossroads. Path one is the one we all know, the digital pacifier. You just grab your phone. That just reinforces the habit of needing something outside of you to feel okay. Path two is harder, for sure, but way more rewarding. You just sit with the discomfort. You use it as your chance to practice. And this is just so important to remember. Simply sit in with that uncomfortable, scrabbling feeling is the practice. That's it. And every single time you do it, you weaken that knee-jerk habit of identifying with every thought and feeling. It's a muscle, and you've got to build it over time. And that all leads us to our final section, where we're going to resolve the central puzzle of this entire explainer, the paradox of how the very thing that feels like the problem can actually be the cure.
This quote just sums it all up so beautifully. Boredom is the problem, that feeling of panic, of collapse. And at the exact same time, it is the cure, the opportunity to break free from that panic.
So let's just break that down one more time. Why is it a problem? Because that discomfort you feel, that's the friction of a false story-based self falling apart. And why is it the cure? Because in the space that gets left behind, something more real, something more authentic, finally has the chance to grow. And this is probably the most powerful metaphor to take away from all of this. Your thoughts, your panic, your boredom, all of it is just weather. It's just passing through. Sometimes it's stormy, sometimes it's calm, but it's always temporary. You are the vast, unchanging sky in which all of that weather happens. So the next time you feel that panic of the void, try to reframe it. It's not a sign that you're failing or that you're doing something wrong. Quite the opposite. It's a sign that you are incredibly close to a breakthrough, to a really profound shift in how you experience yourself and the entire world. Which really leaves us with just one final personal question. The next time that feeling of boredom strikes and you feel your thumb just hovering over an app, what are you going to reach for? The pacifier or the opportunity?